In this video here live on Studio Live today, I'm going to be showing you my portable home studio setup here using GarageBand and using the iOS GarageBand app here on my iPad. But if it's your first time here on the channel, my name is Pete and this is Studio Live today, where I help you create, record and release your best music. And what I'm going to be doing today is actually showing you the gear that I use, because I'm right in the middle of some recording at the moment. I'm recording myself a couple of tracks. One of them is a demo that I did here on the channel a little while ago, probably about 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to continue recording that. I'm recording some vocals and some acoustic guitar, and so I need to set myself up here in the studio. So before we get started though, before we start talking about all of that gear, a couple of things to start off with. If you are recording on the iPad and you don't have the budget for gear, or you don't have a whole lot of gear, that is absolutely no problem. In fact, I've used just the internal microphone on the iPad and the iPhone a bunch of times, and you can get a really good sound. You can get really good recordings just using the microphones on your devices. But if you want to take your recordings up a notch and to the next level, so once I've done my demos and I'm sitting down to actually start recording, what I tend to do is reach for an audio interface and some microphones to actually bring in some additional gear to help me out. Now, if you want to check out the gear that I use, I've got a gear guide over on my website. So if you go to studiolivetoday.com/gear, G-E-A-R, you'll be able to check out the full list of gear that I use here in my studio, and you can check those out. There's some affiliate links in there, so if you are in the market to purchase something and you do make a purchase, you'll be helping the channel out here, as well as getting yourself some cool new gear. So that is win-win. But let's jump into the content here. This is going to be a fairly quick video, but I just wanted to show this. I have showed similar things before where I've set up here in my studio, but I just wanted to take you through how I set up and how I start recording. And then if you want to see more of this sort of content, and you want to see some actual live recording sessions, then by all means let me know and we can do more of this sort of content in the future here on the channel. So what I've brought in here is my favorite little USB audio interface. This is the Steinberg UR12, and I have used this in all of my recordings basically over the last year. It is definitely my absolute favorite little interface because it's really high quality. You might say it's not super portable, which it's not really, but it's really solidly built. It's built like a tank. It's got a really high quality microphone preamp and an instrument input as well. The great thing I love about this though is on the back here, we can power this by USB if you're using it on your PC or your Mac, or you can also power it using a 5-volt DC power. So that's what I'm going to do, because I love the flexibility of using a battery, a power bank battery, just your standard sort. I like this one because it's got a little cable in here we can take out, and there you go, we can connect that up. So all we need to do is plug this into a power source. Now, if you don't have a battery, you can plug it into the wall, and you can just use a standard USB wall adapter and plug that in and you'll be good to go. But we'll turn that one around. We will make sure it's powering up. Yep, that all looks good. So that is sort of the starting of my setup here, is to make sure I have an audio interface. But now, of course, we have to connect this. We have to connect the iPad to our audio interface, and we do that through the use of this handy little device here. This is the Lightning to USB adapter, often called the camera connection kit. This one is the USB 3.0 version, or the USB 3, not 3.0, USB 3 version, which also has a lightning port on here. So this one's especially handy because you can power up your device at the same time as you're connecting to an audio interface. There is also this one available, which is just your standard adapter, slightly less expensive. These aren't cheap. They do go for $30 to $50 depending where you are in the world. So if you are in the market for something like this though, and you do want to pick one up, they are super duper handy. They're listed in the gear guide over at studiolivetoday.com/gear if you do want to grab yourself one. So what we do with this is this clicks into the side of our iPad, into our lightning port like so, and then we need to grab the USB cable. So this is an A to B cable that came with the interface here, and the USB end goes into our adapter like so. Just make sure you can actually see that. And the other end, if I don't throw it away, goes into our interface here. So we plug in like that, and that is it as far as connection goes. Like, this is why I love this setup. It is so super simple. I can get set up and ready to go in a matter of minutes, because all I need to do is grab my iPad, and it works equally well for an iPhone. If you're an iPhone user, you can use this exact same setup. I use the same setup on my iPhone, and it works a treat. So let's just test this now. Being live, we'll just cross our fingers. It's like 100% reliable, and it's never let me down. So drum roll please while this happens, and there we go, it has worked. So you can't really see the screen here that well, but it's saying audio device connected, turn on monitoring. We're going to tap turn on monitoring, and now we are connected, we are ready, we are good to go. So we have our power here, power supply, our USB audio interface here, and then we have our connection going out into our iPad. We are good to go, we are ready to record, and we're good to go. That was just my iPhone telling me I've got a low battery, which is probably a good reason why we need to get a move on and continue on with this. What we need to do next, of course, is connect something up to our interface. So we're going to need an XLR cable. Here we have an XLR cable. It's got a 3-prong connector in each end. The male end is going to go into our interface. So click in like so. And the other end, we need to actually go into a microphone, of course. So what microphone are we going to use? Well, here's one I prepared earlier. Swing this one around. This is my MXL 550, a large diaphragm condenser, my absolute favorite microphone going around. It's very affordable, but really good quality. This one comes in a pack for about $70 with its little brother or little sister, the MXL 551, and they make a really good pair. They are over in the gear guide at studiolivetoday.com/gear if you want to check that out. So we're just going to click that in to the other end there, and then we are away. And what you'll notice here is now, if we tap on that, testing, we're starting to get our level in. Now, when you are setting levels, this is a really important part of setting up something like this. Your audio input, so the input gain here on your microphone, if I set that too high, look at what happens. Testing, 1, 2, yeah, there you go, look at that. It goes right through the roof and we start clipping. And if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that clipping is my least favorite thing in the world, because you're going to get distortion if you have that signal up too high. You'll also notice that there's no way to adjust it on the iPad. All of the input and output gain controls now are actually here on the actual hardware interface. So if you're looking to adjust it and you're going, hey, where's my connection, where's my control, it's all down here. So make sure you dial in your input gain at the right level. All we need to do now is literally hit record and start recording our vocals. So that is what I have been doing earlier today. I need to record some more vocals this afternoon and continue on with this song. But I just wanted to show you really quickly how cool it is when you've got like an audio interface and a microphone here and set up, that you can really get yourself underway and get some good quality recordings in GarageBand. Again, if you've just got your iPad or your iPhone and you're using the internal microphone, there's no problem with that. I don't know why I'm talking into that microphone. It's not actually what you're hearing. It's no problem with that. But if you want to go to the next level, that's just some ideas for some things that you can do. And like I said, this is not an expensive setup. This is quite affordable and a really good way to get yourself some better recordings. One final thing that I nearly forgot about is the important headphones, of course. So when you are tracking, so when you're recording vocals or guitars or whatever, you need to be able to hear what's being played back. So you need to be able to monitor your own audio and then be able to sing along or play along with that. So a pair of decent headphones is important for that. These are the Sennheiser HD 280 Pro. And again, these are over at my gear guide if you wanted to check those out. So on the interface here, we plug the headphones in, and then all we need to do is remove our hat and put the headphones on. And then, yeah, if we had our microphone back, actually, let's grab our microphone back and I'll show you a few things about this. So we've got our microphone here, and if we've got our headphones on, the reason that headphones like this are good is that they are what we call closed back headphones, which means that when we put them on, then they're going all the way around our ear, which is a good thing because it means that there's less bleed. And if you see like how close my head might be to my microphone when I'm singing, there's going to be audio coming out of the headphones. So if you've got open back headphones, then you're going to get a lot more bleed going in there. Earbuds are quite good too. If you've got earbuds that don't have a microphone on them, they're quite good for actually getting some decent quality audio with good monitoring without getting a whole lot of bleed. So that's a good thing. The other thing I hadn't mentioned here is the pop filter, and it's probably the smallest and cheapest part of your home studio setup, but it's definitely one of the most important because a pop filter does a couple of things. It stops your plosives, so it stops you from getting the P sound coming through, and it stops the breath sound coming and hitting the diaphragm of the microphone. So it really improves the quality of the sound, and it takes your amateur recordings and gives them that professional feel because you're not hearing those popping P's and those other sounds there. So that's a good thing. It also makes sure that you don't get too close to the microphone. So you might have seen, people grabbing the microphone and singing right up like this. That's not a good thing. That does a couple of things. It not only sounds bad and gets those P's and pops and clicks and things, but it's got something called the proximity effect, which is where you get too close to a microphone. It's going to really enhance the bass and give you this boominess that you don't really want in there. So a couple of tips there around using microphones, but we will swing that one carefully out of the way, completely out of the way, and finish up with that. So acoustic guitars I won't talk about in this video, but again, if you folks are interested in seeing more of this sort of thing about what I do here in the studio, how I set up, how I record, or maybe even some live studio recording sessions, then definitely let me know. Drop a comment down below and let me know if that's something that you would be keen to see in the future. But the way I record acoustic guitar is actually very similar. I use the microphone and then I actually mic up my acoustic. I could plug directly in, but you tend to get a better sound when you're actually micing up an acoustic guitar. So that's what I tend to do there. So that is going to do it for this video. As I mentioned, if you'd like to see more of this sort of content, then definitely let me know. You can head on over to studiolivetoday.com/gear if you want to check out my gear guide where I go through all of the details of all of this, and you can actually click through and take a look at the equipment that I actually use. Until next time, I'm going to see you on the next video. Drop any comments that you have down below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.